Hey guys, welcome back to Tactical Tuesday. It's good to be back here hanging out with all of you guys. It's good to have our sponsor back, Venture Surplus. If you haven't checked out their website yet, it's like the Army surplus store that's outside Fort Bragg, but it's online. So literally you're getting stuff from Camp Lejeune, Bragg, all those places. Venture Surplus brings the surplus store to your door. It's online. You got good stuff there, free shipping, free returns, all that stuff. Good stuff. I appreciate them sponsoring us tonight. Guys, we got Steve Holland coming. If you saw the thumbnail, Steve asked that we put up a couple of pictures of the movie The Green Berets with John Wayne. I'm fixing my mic, guys. Don't worry about it. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. All right. I got to fix my wire right there. Get my phone all squared away. I think we should be good to go. We should be good to go. All right, you guys know the deal. If you want to turn a question in here, that's the whole point of having a live stream, right? Is that you guys can ask questions. Put it in the chat. I prefer if you do super chat. That means that's where you click the little dollar symbol down below there. You make a small donation to the preservation of Carl Erickson Foundation. All right. What's wrong, Nick? He's turning my mic up a little. I can do it right here on the screen. I got it. I got it. Nick, you guys are bitching. You can't hear me. All right. Carl's wearing a wire. Yes, I am wearing a wire, guys. Got a bunch of stuff going on. We've been busy. We've been real busy here. My son actually helped me film another Tactical Rifleman video yesterday. And he's already got the edits done on it. I've got a bunch of great videos coming up for you guys. I really do. But before we get into them, that one that we filmed yesterday was about breathing while you're shooting. Sounds pretty easy, right? Continue to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Yeah, there's a little bit more to it than that, all right? Sight alignment, more important. Trigger squeeze. More important, but breathing is still important. It's one of your 5 fundamentals. So it's good stuff. So anyways, we did video on that. We're going to do a series of basically quick shooting tips. It's going to be another series of videos. I got a bunch of great content we're going to be filming for you guys. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. I really am. I really am excited about it. Steve Holland also sent me a text asking that I have the FK Burno. You guys remember them? This is the 7.4 millimeter. It's a monster high velocity pistol round, bottle nosed cartridge, right? And right, pistol. That's a pistol, guys, and big, massive hollow point on it, and we've shot deer with it, all kinds of fun stuff. It is a great performing round. The problem, though, is FK Burno no longer makes pistols. I think the company went out of business. I don't know. But anyways, Steve asked that I have it out here. Okay, fine, whatever. You know the deal. We try to accommodate Steve whenever we can. Hey, those of you that aren't doing anything, not this weekend, but next weekend, if you want to come hang out with us, me and a bunch of people in the chat, right? I see Karen, Susan, a bunch of other guys. They are going to be with us at the Mountain Readiness Expo in North Carolina. We're going to be up in the mountains of North Carolina. It's a big off-grid, it's more preparedness than survival type stuff, but it is a lot of survival stuff. Called Mountain Readiness Expo. You can sign up at mountainreadiness.com. I just got my alarm tipped and I'm watching on the camera. Steve's truck's pulling in right now. I got a license plate reader on the road. So I got my notification that Steve just drove past, and good stuff indeed. It's good to see that I've got Steve coming. It really is. Right now, my dogs are running out to greet him. Yeah, so Steve will be here in a few minutes, guys. But one thing I want to say about Mountain Readiness Expo, and we're doing, it's 3 days long. They've got a bunch of great seminars. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Me and the wife, we're bringing the off-road camper and my Jeep. We're going to be camping out there in the campsite the whole time. Angry American's going to be there. Emery will be back in country. He actually lands the day prior. He's going to tow my Target trailer out there, and he's going to hang a hammock up, I think, between the Target trailer and my camper. That will work out great, right? So he'll be sleeping in a hammock for 8 days. I say 8 days instead of 3 because me and Emery are staying for 5 more days to teach tactical rifleman classes. So if you guys are interested in taking our tactical rifleman pistol carbine course, there's still, I want to say, 3 or 4 slots left for that. Pistol's completely sold out. Yeah, there's no more room on pistol. There is room for combat pistol carbine. That's a 2-day course. And then I've got slots left for high-risk concealed carry. Now, high-risk concealed carry is not a basic course at all. You have to already have mastered the basics with that firearm because you understand everything is going to be done from a concealed carry holster. And you can find more details about it at tacticalrifleman.com. But if you're interested in taking classes in North Carolina, I want to say the classes are, I've actually got my calendar right here. Nope, not that one. That's from a Zoom conference call today. Pistol carbine is the 7th and the 8th of May, and then the 9th and 10th is high-risk concealed carry. But if you want to do, like I said, the Mountain Readiness Expo, you can sign up at mountainreadiness.com, and that is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of May. Going to be a great, great time. I'm really excited about it. We've got a bunch of other classes up. We've got a low light, no light course in July. That's in Louisville, a 2-day course, and it's all night shooting. So the cool part, we're doing at an indoor range. So we're going to do a little bit in the classroom, and then you go right into the range, and we kill the lights, and it is cave dark in there. So we do flashlights a little bit, but then we get into night vision, and you'll stay doing night vision for the rest of the time. I provide brand new PVS 14s for all the students. And then at the end of the class, if you want to buy them, it's yours. Literally, it's the one that you've been using. You were the only one to ever touch it. And I know a lot of people want to try night vision before they buy it. So that's kind of why we set this up. You also are only paying my price for it. You're not, it's not marked up. Yeah, without a doubt, you're not going to be able to find it anywhere cheaper on the internet, that's for sure. That's July, and then all the other classes I have are not open anymore. But September, I've got a bunch of classes in September, 11 straight days in September, and we're going to be adding 2 more. So Gunrunner Carbine, Tactical Combat Casualty Care, that's a medical class, 1-day medical class. Gunrunner Carbine's a 2-day class. Then Gunrunner Pistol, 2-day class. Combat Pistol, 1-day class. Combat Pistol Carbine, 2-day class. Carbine Zero Mastery, 1 day. Battle Rifle 1, no, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Advanced Pistol Carbine, that's 2-day class. Then Battle Rifle 1, and then Combat Shooting Mastery, which is another 1-day class. That's a marathon right there. Lots, and I mentioned a couple new classes in there, like Battle Rifle 1. Battle Rifle 1 is targets 50 to 300. So for all the guys that show up to classes and all you guys are ever doing is pew-pew, you know, you've got a rifle that can hit targets at 300, but you're only doing 5 meters with it. You understand you might as well be using a pistol, right? Let's practice getting those bad guys while they're still at distance. So that's kind of how we built Battle Rifle 1. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there are some shots up close on the final stress test. but the first bullet you shoot is right at 300 meters, literally. It's going to be a good time. I've already taught the class a few times, Texas and Tennessee, and nothing but great reviews from it. Ooh. Good stuff indeed, indeed. I see Steve is still hanging out in his vehicle. Hey, you guys, I don't know if I shared this with my patrons. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? Heraclitus Bourbon is a new bourbon company that they're in the middle of bottling their first batch. Literally, why? Because it takes time to make bourbon. They actually had this decanter engraved for me with the Tactical Rifleman logo. I don't know if you guys can see that. Thought that was pretty cool. If you want to just see their logo, these are these slate coasters. They sent me a couple of these, and then they got me a couple. The glasses have got their label on one side, but then they also put the Tactical Rifleman on the other, which I really appreciate it. Brickell Clark and her husband, they're the ones that started this little company here. And anyway, so Heraclitus, if you guys are not familiar with it, is... anyways, they're real quick. The bourbon's not for sale yet, right? So relax. I know if I say something is awesome, you guys immediately want to jump on it. At least some of you do. I'm Philip Wilson. I'm talking about you. All right. There's an old quote, and understand, guys, this goes back to the Greek and Roman times and everything, right? Heraclitus, so that the name Heraclitus bourbon is inspired by the famous Heraclitus 100-man quote. And if you don't know how the quote goes, he said, regarding every 100 men sent into battle, out of every 100 men, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are the real fighters, and we are lucky to have them, for they make the battle. Ah, but the one is a warrior, and he will bring the others back. All right. Basically, they liked that quote. But for different reasons, you understand that rings true with all walks of life. You know, whether you're whether you're a first responder, paramedic, or cop, whether you're in a corporate boardroom, or whether you are a modern warfighter. You don't have to be a Green Beret. You can be an infantry unit, and be whatever, and it literally plays true. You talk to these National Guard units that are. Or regular army units that were up on the mountain in Afghanistan. They got months where nothing goes on, and then all of a sudden the Taliban hits that one little platoon perimeter with like 400 guys. And out of that one platoon, all right, there's a couple that never fire their guns. They really are. And but then you've got the 80 that just basically are acting like they're in the National Guard, but then you've got the 9 guys that are actually getting their blast on. They're actually the professional soldiers, but there's always the one person. Sometimes it's a platoon sergeant, sometimes it's a switched on officer, sometimes it's an E5, but sometimes it's just a Marine Lance Corporal who is just dialed in and literally takes the fight to the enemy, and he rallies the guys to his left and right. He's the guy that carries the day and brings everybody else home. So the idea behind Heraclitus is here's to the 9s and the 1s, that 10% of the unit that goes out there. So it's not Heraclitus bourbon. It's been filled with Woodford's Reserve, but it's still Kentucky bourbon. I don't know. I'm hoping Heraclitus is going to talk better. Tastes just as good, right? So anyways, they reached out to me. Heraclitus Select Bourbon is honoring those who support and train with Carl Erickson and the Tactical Rifleman crew, creating the 9s and the 1s necessary to serve and protect American freedom. Here's what they've done, guys, is they've taken a couple of the first barrels, and it's me and I think one other social media influencer. I don't even remember the guy's name. Limited edition 2024 hand selected single barrel, uncut, unfiltered at cask strength. What they mean by that is a lot of guys don't realize if you ever buy bourbon, it's like 80 proof or 90 proof. All right, but you understand when it first comes out of the barrel, it's like 116 proof. And then they water it down with Kentucky mountain water to get it exactly the 80 or 90 that it's supposed to be, because some barrels are stronger than others. All right, so to get it, so when you buy your Jim Beam, it's always the exact same strength, basically, is what I'm saying. All right. So anyways, Heraclitus bourbon, this is a 5-year Kentucky bourbon from Owensboro, Kentucky. It's the Green River Distillery right down the road here, which I think is kind of cool. It's 116 proof. Here's what I think is weird, because you understand if you're selling it, you're not getting as many bottles because you're not cutting your cocaine with powdered sugar. You understand? You're not watering down the actual bourbon. This stuff is going to show up 116 proof. And so you're only getting about 175 bottles out of a barrel. 100 bottles have already been reserved for pre-release. Now, again, I haven't tried this stuff yet. I have had cask uncut bourbon before, though, and it's strong. So strong, why would you do that? Well, it's because you can take one of those big orbs of ice and put it in the glass and let it sit for a bit. Once enough of the ice has melted, you've basically watered it down just like if you had bought a normal bottle, but now it's chilled. The whole thing is chilled, and you're not having to add more ice to it. So anyways, I think it's kind of cool. I'm hoping it's awesome. I really am. Anyways, they are taking reservations. I will get you guys the info down the road. But here's the deal. They have a limit of 2 bottles per person on the pre-order. That way, as many people as possible can get an opportunity to purchase. And the reason why they say 2 bottles is because most people want to drink one and then they want to save one. And I know all of you guys out there all know somebody that is part of the 9, or a few of you might be fortunate enough like me to know some of the actual ones. And so for me, that one warrior, that's Mark Nooch, the team leader from ODA 595. You guys know him from the movie 12 Strong, the Horse Soldiers. Randy Rawhide Worst is a 1% warrior. There's no denying that. You understand, there's a town in Montana that has a bronze bust of Randy Rawhide Worst, including the mustache. Sue LaRue would be a 1%er, and he is on the battlefield. The problem, though, is he gets in trouble too much. But I have, and guys, I'm just a schmuck. I got that. But I have had the honor and lived the blessed life that I have been around. Sincerely, I consider it an honor to having been around so many of these great guys out there. And guys like Tony Pryor. You know, Tony Pryor got a Silver Star in the initial invasion of Afghanistan. Getting ready to go to a room. Bad guy squirts out of the room. The number 2 man, number 3 man, number 4 man chased that guy. Tony thought he had a stack behind him. He went into the room, 2 guys in the room, immediately drops them both with hammered pears. But there are 2 other guys. They jumped on Tony's back, pinned his rifle down, dislocated his shoulder. He grabbed one of them, couldn't get to his pistol, grabbed one of them, snapped his neck with his bare hands, grabbed the other guy, grabbed his pistol, stuck it up to his eye socket, pulled the trigger. The first 2 guys he shot started to get up, tac mag reload of the rifle, 2 Roman candles to the head of each guy. His ready mag was a full mag of tracers. Tony is the 1%, and I consider it an honor to know Tony Pryor. So anyways, I think you guys know guys out there like that, and to be able to give somebody like that a bottle and then also to be able to sit down and have a drink with them. Or if you're like me and you've got guys that fell on a battlefield, Can you imagine me and John Stryker Myers sitting down and having a drink for a couple of his McVie Sog buddies that had passed away, right? The one percenters. So I think it's kind of cool. We have a pecking order, all right, for who gets to reserve these bottles. And you can get your name put on the list, but you understand there's going to be a pecking order. And it starts with my Patreon patrons, all right? So for my patrons, and again, the higher the tier you are, and you understand it's because I've got hundreds of patrons and I only have 100 of these bottles. So the higher, and a lot of my higher tiered patrons aren't drinkers. So it's not a big deal, but it will go Medal of Honor patrons, and then Distinguished Service Cross patrons, then Silver Star patrons, and Bronze Star patrons. It'll work their way down. Again, limits 2 bottles. Nothing hard. After my patrons, anybody that has taken a class with me, you're next, and then it'll go to the public. I know if you guys reach out to me, I could probably bump you up on the list. But again, that's up to me. I reserve the right. And they are taking names and commitments and stuff, but I'm really not wanting to throw that out there yet. I'll do that next week. But if you want to go take a look at the stuff, it's HeraclitusBourbon.com. I'm going to ask Donut to put it in the chat room for me. Put a link to it, Donut, if you don't mind. Heraclitus Bourbon. Now, when you think of the name of the bourbon, okay, remember it is the guy with the cool saying about the Warriors, 9 and the 1. I don't want you doing it like if you're from Great Britain, or maybe you're one of those Harry Potter fans, you know, and be saying, she's got a Harry Potter. You know, I don't want you doing that. I don't want you saying, she's got a hairy clitoris. No, it's Heraclitus Bourbon. Heraclitus Bourbon. Heraclitus, not Harry Clitoris. No. Get your mind out of the gutter, Jerry. Because I know that's Jerry. I know Jerry. I'm not even reading the that's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Anyways, it's a very, very cool saying. And I've actually got it on a t-shirt. I was at a bar once, and it was actually in another country. I want to say it was, where was that? Nuremberg, Germany. I was in this little hole-in-the-wall bar. I went up there for basically the European version of SHOT Show, and go out to this bar. Got invited out. Don't even know the name of it. There was obviously German special ops guys there, but there were Canadian special ops. There was a couple other Green Berets that I knew, retired guys. Travis Rolfe was there. But it was written up on the wall of the bar, the whole saying, you know, of 100 soldiers that go to battle, you know, 10 of them shouldn't even be there. Anyways, it's a very, very cool saying. And so anyways, I'm just giving you guys a little bit of foreshadowing. I'm hoping it's going to be cool bourbon. And I just want to thank Raquel and her husband, Joseph, for honoring me, because putting me up on the pedestal. I'm really not, guys, but I have been in the company of heroes. I really have. I've enjoyed and consider it an honor just to hang out with the people that I get to hang out with. So, yes, Karen, we will all keep it PG-13. Yep, PG-13 indeed. Good stuff. Yeah. I think that's awesome. Raquel, Joseph, if you're watching, thank you. I do appreciate it. And I look forward to some good bourbon. I really do. Out of every 100 men sent to battle, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are the real fighters, and we are lucky to have them, for they make the battle. but the one is a warrior, and he will bring the others back. Very cool saying. Very, very cool saying indeed. I'm going to scroll through. I got a couple other notes. I see we got Steve playing out there. You guys like Big Al's videos, right? Big Al Crawford. Well, the reason why I love Big Al is, one, Big Al's a great cook. Big Al's a great American, and he's a great personal friend of the TR team. So when he agreed to do videos, I was like, that's awesome. That's a no-brainer. Big Al was one of the guys that originally brought the miniguns into theater back when I was a young master sergeant, and I got to run the miniguns often, and that's because of Steve Holland and Big Al. Fast forward, that Big Al was in the Army back then. Now Big Al is a civilian, but he works as a contractor for 5th Special Forces Group. He's their head armor, basically takes care of all the guns and everything. So when he gives his opinion on a new gun that the military is using, you need to value his opinion. So anyways, this Friday's video is about the Law Tactical folding stock conversion. And there's other folding stocks out there. Sylvan Arms makes a great one. I love it. I really do. It's lighter than the Law Tactical one, but Big Al's like, hey, US SOCOM did the tests, and the Law Tactical one held up better, less malfunctions, all that stuff. It's not going to sit in it well, Steve.
That's right. I got this, brother.
He's got this. Steve wants to talk about a pistol tonight. He knows he's not allowed to touch it on the live stream because the live stream will get shut down. He also picked a pistol that's no longer being made. The company went out of business, but that's okay. All right. Ooh, what one's that? Was that a Browning? Steve's still setting up. All right. Okay. I'll let Steve play. Indeed. So anyways, that's this Friday's video, giving you guys a small little sneak peek of it. I actually got a picture of that bourbon bottle, guys, if you guys want to see it. At the front of the bottle, but if you look up on the neck of the bottle, up at the top, it doesn't really show the label very, very well. But our thing will be up on the top of it. Again, that's for those bottles, indeed. All right, my son reminded me I needed to show that for you guys. Let's see if I've gotten any pictures. All right, you have I got a couple of my patrons asking if I will save some of these bottles for our Patreon course, which is in October. Of course, I'm gonna get a couple. But I don't want to grab enough for my patrons and then patrons not sign up to buy any of it. So don't sweat it. All right, a couple other questions here. Right off the bat, J.D. Watson asks, how is Nick doing? First off, I want to thank everybody that sent their prayers out on the internet. I was supposed to be filming all last week. And then the morning we were going to start filming, my son all of a sudden came in, we're doing coffee, and he's like, Dad, you got your stethoscope? And I'm like banging away on the computer. Hey, we'll do coffee. And he's like, no, do you have your stethoscope? I'm like, that's some random ass questions, right? It's upstairs in the medical cabinet, right? You know? So he's like, you know, I want you to listen to my heart. Listen to my lungs. He had just gotten over a viral infection. We didn't know if it was COVID or the flu or whatever. So I go up, I listen to his lung fields, PMI off to the side. Nick, your lungs are clear. There's no... Because I was thinking he thought he had fluid in the lungs or something. He says he's having difficulty breathing. I'm like, you're good, you know, you're fine, you can be okay. The pain is probably from you coughing. He said that was the first day he hadn't been hacking up anything. So I kind of blew it off, right? And I went off and doing something with the wife, and actually took the wife camping. And about the time I get the campsite set up, right, because we're going to be filming out in the campsite, right? About the time I got the campsite set up, I get the text that my nephew's taking Nicholas to the emergency room, chest pains. They think he's having a heart attack. Get there, long story short, we immediately packed up camp, went back home, raced down to the emergency room. 1 o'clock in the morning, they end up transferring him to another hospital. They'd already done a couple CAT scans of his chest and everything, and turns out he has pericarditis. All right, I know you guys are like, oh, I don't know what that is. The pericardium is the sac around your heart. If you take that left hand, make a fist with it, place some knuckles on your chest, that's roughly where your heart sits, all right? Left ventricle, right atrium, left atrium, aortic arch off the top, blah, 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 blah. All right. The sac around your heart is called your pericardium. So it's pericarditis inflammation around it, which then in turn puts pressure in on the heart and out onto the lungs. Very, very, very dangerous, especially if left untreated. They started him on the usual anti-inflammatory IV, and immediately, you understand, they gave him morphine twice, fentanyl once, nothing was taking the pain away. My boy was hurting bad. Yes, he took the COVID vaccine, of course. He was in a heavy metal band. You understand, your band can't play at any public venues. They're all ran by the libtards. All right, if you don't have your vaccine card, all right. So of course, my son back in the day got the vaccines. Doesn't matter, all right. Anyways, long story short, once they got him started on the IV anti-inflammatory, pain went away. Followed up with the cardiologist, and they ended up releasing him 2 days later. Just got my son home. He's got to take it easy for a while. So yeah, of course, so we still filmed yesterday, but that camera doesn't weigh that much. All right, but I'm very big on, peri, outside, cardi, heart, itis, inflammation of, for those of you that want me to break down the word, okay? Ghost Enemy is saying card is the heart. Yes. Pericarditis, you understand all those medical words, you can break them down. Most of them have Greek base words, but a lot of them, you understand, they come up with something different names for everything. They really do. The big point, though, is prayers went out from all you guys. My patrons, I posted on Patreon. We have a Patreon chat. And sometimes I'm just sitting there with my phone and I will just vent. I'll toss a couple sentences out there, what's on my heart. And that's basically what I said was, hey, I'm worried about my little man, but and then I closed my phone, and I checked it hours later, and I had all these positive comments and people sending prayers and everything from my patrons. And so anyways, I just want to thank everybody for that. I do appreciate everybody's concern and everything. I got the people that do the bourbon, they actually sent me some texts. I'm not going to read them now, I'll read them later. LOL, sorry, just realized your live stream. We can hear you. Okay, that's fine. Funny stuff. Let's go back to the important person, the moderator that's supposed to be sending me questions. I get guys that text me just to let me know that they're not going to be able to watch the live stream tonight. Thanks. I know people think they're that important. All right, without further ado, Tactical Rifleman, Carl, should I buy a new pistol that is optics ready or have a slide milled? One, that can go two ways, right? Depends on what optic you're wanting to run. All right, there are lots of pistols that are available now cut for a particular optic pattern. You guys know I'm a Glock guy. You guys know I love my Glocks. However, Glock has what's called the Glock MOS. It's the Gen 5 MOS, Modular Optic System. And what that does is it comes with a full set of base plates that allows you to mount basically any optic onto a Glock. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is now instead of you having 2 screws putting the optic onto the gun, you now have 2 screws putting the plate on the gun and 2 more screws putting the optic onto the plate. That is now 4 screws that potentially can come loose. And understand, because there's so little meat left in the top of a slide, all those screws have got to be short, and recoil is bad on, you understand the laws of physics. A body in motion wants to stay in motion, but a body that is static wants to stay static. It doesn't want to move. So when that explosion makes that slide start moving backwards, that plate slides forward, and then the optic slides forward on the plate. The slide hits the back, the spring runs the slide back forward. The slide then slides, the plate slides to the rear and bottoms out. Then the optic slides to the rear on the plate, bottoms out. And then it all slides back forward till the slide chambers the next round and bottoms out. And then the plate slides back forward, and then the optic slides back forward on the plate. You get optics that will loosen up after every couple thousand rounds, 3,000-4,000 rounds. I almost guarantee you a Glock MOS plate is going to loosen up. No big deal. A lot of people don't shoot 3,000-4,000 rounds in a year. Understand, I shoot 3,000-4,000 rounds through that pistol in a month, especially if it's a training month where I've got multiple classes, because I've got to train between classes and everything else, right? So it's a pain in the ass when I got to keep doing that. So again, it depends on the pistol you're looking at buying and the optic. And what I mean by that is this FK Burno that Steve's got sitting on my desk is milled. You can take the top plate off, and it has got holes for certain optics. So you're going to put the optic directly onto the slide of the pistol. Only 2 screws. Now, there's another option, and I used to not recommend this because there weren't good companies doing it. All right. But the other option is you can buy an aftermarket slide from someone like Brownells. Buy an aftermarket slide for almost most common guns now. Your Glocks, your Gen 3s, your Gen 5s. You can get aftermarkets, your SIGs. You can get aftermarket slides that are already cut for that optic. That is where I would point you to first and foremost, if it's a reputable company. But as far as you taking an unmilled slide off of your favorite pistol and sending it to somebody to have it cut for an optic, all right, I used to not recommend that because that's your favorite pistol, you know, and how about if they screw it up? And there weren't a lot of real reputable, there were a lot of companies that said that they could mill a slide for your optic, but there weren't really any that I trusted. I have found a company that I trust now. And again, I don't get a kickback at all. I asked them if I could get a discount code for it. The name of the company is Danger Close Armament. I have it written up on the board up there. Danger Close Armament. I sent them the slide for my 43X, not my 43X MOS, my 43X. I told them what optic I wanted it cut for, and they cut it for. And they can do all the fancy cuts on your slides and holes to make your slide lighter. You understand, you put a hole in the slide, that's just a place for dirt and mud and snow and everything to get in. I do not want a slide with any holes in it. I let them put the added serrations, but I told them no holes. They milled it for the 507K, the Holosun optic that I had that had the Vulcan reticle in it. But the code, if you want to go to Danger Close Armor, I think it's dangerclosearmament.com, or you can Google them. Use code TR20. That should save you $20 off the cost of getting it milled. I haven't done it in a while. Anyways, guys, it took me a few extra minutes to answer that question because optics are dear to my heart. When I first got the group back in 1993, Steve's like, oh, you're just a pup. I got the group. I remember I had to go to the Q course. I went SF right after Desert Storm. The Special Forces medic Q course is long. You got to add language school to that, everything else, right? So I got the group 93, and that's right when the first few optics started showing up. And we got this reflex sight, part of the soft mod kit, open emitter, tritium, no batteries, and all the old timers, my team sergeants, like, glass breaks, battery dies, you stick with iron sights. I'm like, shit, our team only got 2, I'll take one. Shit, I'm the new guy, I'll take that. Because I recognized right away the advantages of having a red dot. Fast forward 5 years, and every gun in US SOCOM had an optic on it because it brings so many benefits to the fight that outweigh the disadvantages. Okay, fine. Slightly after that, the Seymour's red dot sight started showing up on the competition pistols. And while you could never get one on a Beretta to fit in a holster, you couldn't put these big old pistol. So anyways, they were limited to your 3-gun shooters, but the reason why those were restricted to open class, because it gave them an unfair advantage over the guys shooting tactical pistols. The advantage was already there. And when we first started getting the little red dots, the first couple were called the Doctor and the J Point, made by JP Enterprise. And guys were running them as backups on their guns and stuff, but you could put them on pistols. And right then and there, I was like, look, within the next 5 years, you're going to see all combat guns are going to have red dots on them. And everybody's like, no, Carl, it's too hard to find the dot. I'm like, look, the advantages that red dots bring in combat outweigh the disadvantages. And I'm like, the biggest disadvantage on all these open emitter sights is the open emitter. So as soon as they start doing enclosed emitters, like a aim point or EOTech on a rifle, we had the same issue. We originally had open emitters. Nobody liked them. We needed an enclosed emitter. And once the aim point, the M68 came out and the EOTech came out, you notice no one serious were running open emitters on their rifles anymore. It's the same thing with pistols. You're going to see right now everybody that's running an open emitter saying you don't need an enclosed emitter. That's stupid. This one you can see so much better. Mind you, in less than 5 years, all of them are going to be running enclosed emitters because it just makes sense. And I see it happen over and over again. So 3-4 years ago, me teaching a tactical rifleman class, pistol class, I would have both pistols, one with a red dot on it, one with iron sights. And I would, as the students were doing their warm-up in the morning, I'd be like, all right, I got one with a red dot, 2 with iron sights, 1 with a red dot, 2, 3 with iron sights. There's another one with iron sights, red dot, iron sight, iron sight, iron sight. All right, I would grab my iron sight pistol, put it in the holster. Because I would train with whatever my clients were using. If I'm training a military unit that's still running Berettas, I put my Beretta holster on. If I'm whoever it is, if they're running single stack 1911s, I hated putting that holster on. But now, I'd say 90% of the students that show up at a tactical rifleman class to take combat pistol or combat pistol carbine, they show up with a red dot on their guns. All right, so it's important to me. It is, because we've reached that point where people are starting to realize. But if you're currently running an open emitter, and I wish I had one here on my desk. If you're currently running an open emitter, I got everything else on my desk except one right now. I want the next time you have the money to do an upgrade, I caution you to go with an enclosed emitter. And we had it happen at our Patreon course. The first day of the course was, we kind of do a intro to guns. And all my gunfighters, mostly the guys, they're at the next range over. And I had a lot of the newer shooters, a lot of the wives and stuff on my side of the range with Steve Holland and Steve's going over the lever guns and everything. Well, I had a couple of girls, wives, down the other end, and they're here in the chat room. I had Karen, I had Susan, I had Maria LaCourte, and one was running iron sights, but the other two were running enclosed emitters. Toby took care of Karen, got her an enclosed emitter. Susan was borrowing my pistol with an enclosed emitter, and they had no problem. It was raining cats and dogs. I mean, shoes are filled up to the top. It's just mud puddles everywhere. It is raining sheets of water down on us, and all the guys out there, the next range over, Wick is over there, and Wick and Randy are running all these shooting drills, critical task evaluations. They got the Texas Star, they've got the Whirligig, they've got all these other targets, and I brought, they call them Charlie's Angels or Carl's Angels. I brought my trio of wives over there, and all these guys are having a hard time with their pistols because, well, the pistol's in the holster, that open emitter is filling up with water. It's raining that much, basically pouring a bucket over the head. They'd pull it out, they couldn't see nothing. That's real life. That you understand the moment of truth when you have to push your family behind you and defend them with a firearm, you need to be ready. And it might be dark outside, so I encourage everybody to have a light on the gun. It might be raining cats and dogs. You need to have iron sights that you can see, or you need to have an enclosed emitter. And my girls went over there and completely crushed these guys because the girls could see their optics. All right, I guarantee you 80% of the guys over there were actually better shots than the girls. Why did the girls win on the modern battlefield that particular day of training? They won because they were better equipped than their opponents. That's just the truth. So I'm very proud of my girls. Matter of fact, all three of them are getting together again at the Mountain Readiness Expo. And it's going to be a great time indeed. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see if I've got any more questions come in here. The film crew does 24th to 27th work. I'm trying to schedule my next. They forget I'm in the middle of a live stream. Yes. Okay. I'm going back here. Got another one come in. This one is from the Gustache 2531. Man, his mom must have. You understand how many kids you got to burp out of that box to where you got to give them a 4-digit serial number? That's crazy. He threw down $20. Sir, I'm a retired cop now working church security. I've attended several TCCC classes. Should I still apply a chest seal or pack a wound with my combat gauze if EMS is only 8 to 10 minutes away? Am I going to give a problem? No, here's the deal. Just because they say they're 8 to 10 minutes away doesn't mean that something's not going to happen or that there's not somebody else shot out in the parking lot. All right, that the active shooter wasn't multiple people and they're outside. You understand, never delay, never ever, and this goes for all you guys, never delay treatment because you think that somebody better qualified will be here soon. You understand, you are all you've got. Now, if while you're putting the chest seal on and while you're packing that wound, you're packing to the bleeder, you're packing to the bone, if a doctor comes up and says, "What are you doing?" "I'm packing Curlex to stop this bleeder," I guarantee you he's going to be like, "Oh snap, that's awesome. Can I help? I happen to be a thoracic surgeon." "Cool, sir. Let me help you." And then if he's screwing it up, because you understand, a lot of thoracic surgeons get given patients that are already stable in a sterile operating room environment, and sometimes they don't respond well at point of injury care. In which case, you kind of shoo him to the side and have him watch, right? But this goes for all you guys. I don't ever want you to delay treatment because you think you're going to get in trouble for. You understand the whole Good Samaritan clause. It's a law, by the way. It protects you because you're just trying to help out. You're not a paramedic who's doing what a doctor should be doing. He's gone above his level of care that he's legally allowed to give. All right? An on-duty paramedic has to stop at his level of care. All right? Most won't. Most will do what's ever necessary. All right? But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. But please do not delay care, guys. Please do not delay care at all. Yeah, just because you think the paramedic's gonna, or the ambulance is only a couple minutes away, you understand you've got vessels in your body, femoral artery, and there are others that are as big around as your thumb. You can literally stick your thumb inside of a femoral artery. Next time you're outside, I want you to stick your thumb inside of your garden hose. You'll find that if you've got an adult-sized thumb, your thumb does not fit inside of a garden hose. But my thumb will fit inside of a femoral artery of a human being. Okay, I actually did it on a cadaver. I have pressed on live femoral arteries. I have not actually stuck one in. I stuck my thumb inside. All right, but I have on a cadaver. It'll fit. My reason for saying that is, think about how much blood can squirt out of a garden hose. All right, you want to leave that garden hose running for 6 to 10 minutes? No, of course not. Of course you don't. Immediately do the best care that you can. Best care that you can, without a doubt. My ice is melting, Steve.
Hey, let me,
you guys, Steve Holland. What's up, Steve? Yeah, you got to put your mic on.
Yeah.
You brought a whole roll of toilet paper this time.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a little snotology going on?
Got that air conditioner going like it's white man cold in here.
Makes my nipples
TR Nation, how you guys doing? You know, I just look forward to Tuesday hanging out with you guys.
You're right.
I'm going to jump right in. I want to add to what Carl was saying about red dot sights on a pistol. Okay? Now, most of you guys know or relate to me as, hey, that's Steve Holland. He designed a Mark 12 SPR, not just the Mod H, but the entire family of Mark 12 SPRs. I did the Mark II 262 77 grain 5.56 ammo. I did the 6.8 SPC. I did a 6.8 by 51. Delivered the miniguns systems to 5th Group for the war. Started the sniper school at Fort Campbell for 5th Group, which is still going to this day. I started that back in 1990 for Somalia. So, but what I want to talk about is previous to that. Before I went into Special Forces, I got, of course, tricked by my recruiter. When I first went to the MEP station in Jacksonville, Florida, out of Brunswick, Georgia, I wanted to go Special Forces, and we talked about that last week, Carl and I, and John Wayne, in the movie The Green Beret.
The Green Berets.
When I got to the 82nd...
The Green Berets. That's the movie we're talking about, guys.
That's the movie we're talking about, guys. You need to check it out, all you young people. So, at the 82nd Airborne, I had to do 4 years, and I ended up on the marksmanship team. And the marksmanship team, they shoot straight. We didn't have anything tactical back then. So it was precision. The first stage of all the matches was precision, 50 yards with a 22 long rifle, match pistol. The centerfire stage was, for the military guys, we shot 45 hardball. And then we had the third stage, which once you put all three of those stages together, the scores added up to, if you shot perfect, what they call shooting clean, 2,500 points in a match for that whole day. So I was a PFC when I went to the marksmanship unit. And obviously they picked me because, you know, I shot in the competition throughout the whole 82nd Airborne, ended up with 10 guys and 5 guys were picked. So during my first 2 years on the marksmanship unit, all the older guys, the corporals and the sergeants, they were shooting 1911s with aim points. Now back then,
a big old aim point.
Yeah, the big aim points. There was no M68 CCO as it is now. And keep in mind, we're talking about 1981 to 1983, okay? Red dot sights were unheard of for tactical use.
Yep.
Well, I couldn't get close. Sometimes I get close to 2,500 points in a match, 2,400 points, but I couldn't break 2,400. I used to tell my mentor, Jim Schatz, Sergeant Jim Schatz, great American. Some of you guys knew him as he was the vice president of H&K. Jim passed a couple of years ago. I love the brother to death. He was one of the biggest advocates for small arms in the United States of America. I used to tell Jim, I said, Sergeant, if I got a red dot sight like you guys have, I could shoot clean. I could do this. And he'd say, Private, when you break 2,500 in a match, in 2 matches, we'll let you go to a red dot sight. So about close to my second year, I broke 2,400 at Camp Perry. I broke 2,400 in a Marine Corps match or something like that. They said, I was a Spec 4 then, specialist. We're going to let you mount a red dot sight. I was all excited. I was like, man, I am going to break history. I'm going to kick everybody's ass. It's over with now. I'm going to a red dot sight. When we used to teach classes to dependents, one of the techniques we would use at 25 meters, 25 yards, with iron sights, we would talk about the movement of the sight picture on the target, like a figure 8. And we would always say you have to accept that movement and don't try to break it on the bullseye. So we would let them watch that movement at 25 yards, and we have them walk toward the target to when they got right in 2 feet from the target. I said, now, the sights are still moving, but now you're right in the center of the black. What you're getting at 25 yards is an optical illusion. The day that I first got my pistol back from the armor with my red dot sight on it, I said, man, I was smoke them today. I picked that gun up, went to dry fire, and popped that red dot sight up, and that red dot sight was doing this right here. But the sight was steady, but it looked like the red dot sight was dancing all over the target. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was like, then when we went to actual shooting, because we used to dry fire a lot on the marksmanship team, actual shooting 45 ACP hardball at 25 yards, my groups were so much worse than it was with iron sights. 2 years of shooting iron sights. I mean, I'm in the black all the time. I'm in the black. Talking about, I get mad if I break an X out into the 10 ring. That red dot sight was jumping around like this right here. My shots were in the 7, 8s, 9s. They were everywhere. And then these Sergeant Shot set me down. He said, you know that iron sight thing you teach in class about optical illusion? He said it's more pronounced with the red dot sight. He said, don't chase it. Let it go. For the next 2 weeks, I was chasing it. I was chasing the damn red dot all over the place. So that's just to add to what Carl was saying in reference to red dot sights on pistols. Everybody wants to go to a red dot sight. Red dot sight is not going to make you shoot better. It will not make you shoot better. If you don't understand the fundamentals of marksmanship, that red dot sight ain't going to do squat for you. If you're carrying a red dot on your EDC or your home defense pistol, your personal defense pistol, and your truck pistol, and you don't shoot a lot with that red dot sight, it is not going to make you Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. I'm telling you that right now. You have to learn. I wouldn't give a person a red dot sight at any time if I had anything to do with it in training, if they couldn't show me that they can shoot iron sights. Because if you can't shoot iron sights, you damn sure ain't going to shoot red dot sights. Now, it does make a difference on a rifle or a carbine because you got additional mounting platform and stability. With a pistol and you locked out, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So just keep that in mind. If you spend, $120 getting your sight slide cut, then you get a, $200, $300, $400 red dot sight, the latest and greatest, the hotness, and you're shooting 7s and 6s, don't be surprised, okay? So take time. Maybe you can go with a small caliber. Guys always say, hey, shoot a 22 before you try to shoot a 45. And that will help you in your marksmanship application to threats. Thank you. All you now, brother. All you.
It's all good, guys. It's all good. I already answered that one. All right, we are caught up on questions. All right. So what do you got, Steve? What do you got for us
Well,
tonight?
what I want to talk about is bottlenose pistol ammunition. Bottleneck. Bottleneck. Where, I mean, almost all rifles ammunition is bottleneck. Most pistol cartridges are straight wall cartridges. I love straight wall cartridges when it comes to reloading them. With the carbide die, you
That's
don't
why
need to
I brought
do
you. I brought you both here. I've got you 10 millimeter,
Okay.
40 Smith and Wesson, and I got you some of the bottleneck right here. He asked me to have these graphic training aids here, so I got him graphic training aids. Bottle-nosed, bottlenecked pistol ammo. I thought you guys could see that right there, but I guess you can't. All right, ain't that sexy? That's sexy right there.
So, for all you guys that are sitting there saying, what is that? Let me get this. Am I ready? I'm prepared. Brought the right box. Yes, I did.
What are you looking for?
Regular straight wall cartridge case, okay? Straight wall. Da-da-da, hold it up for me.
I'll hold it
Assistant.
up for you. Straight wall. This one right here, guys.
And if you take the freaking Bernal. Okay.
I got one right here, Steve.
That's okay, I got one. Okay, yeah, good. So, now, if you notice, you got the straight wall cartridge, and then you got the bottleneck cartridge. Put another one up there.
Okay.
Okay. And that one is a 50-year-old cartridge, 7.62 by 25, and you got the 7.62 by 23 Tokarov. Okay, that was for the Tokarov and the CZ52. Now, and this fire in the hole. There's a little one. Okay, and this is one of my current favorites.
You're 5'7".
Oh, don't do the dance, baby. Dance for me. That is the 5.7, 5.7 by 28. That is the latest and greatest.
That's the latest hotness.
Hotness. It's been around for a while. It's hot.
Yeah, it's
Now,
making a comeback.
it's making a comeback. I love myself at 5.7. Now, the interesting thing about bottlenose pistol cartridges is you got a regular size like the Bernal. They're basically taking a 40 Smith & Wesson, a 10 millimeter case, and necking it down to 7.5, which is 30 caliber. So you're going from, let's say, a 40 Smith & Wesson, the average bullet weight is 165 grain, which is kind of heavy for a short pistol like that. So you're necking it down to 30 with almost the same powder capacity. So you're jumping from the pistol categories in velocity. And velocity is always an interesting part about any type of ammunition. If you think about it, a 9mm 125 grain projectile. What is that? Put that back up.
Maria's card, graduation certificate.
Oh, okay.
I'm just showing them. Fred LaCourt.
I hate to do that. I do that with the mic on. So, magnums. Okay, one of the best magnum calibers there are is the 357 Magnum. The 357 Magnum was developed back when the average ammunition for a pistol was 38 Special. 357 Magnum was designed as a man killer. It wasn't target practice. It wasn't plinking. It was designed as a man stopper. Okay. That is a .357, 358 diameter caliber bullet versus like the 9mm, which is .355, which is, a cunt hair. I'm sorry, very small. So the 357 Magnum was famous among law enforcement back in the 50s and 60s because it's almost a one-shot stop, which led SIG to do the 357 SIG. Now, the main thing was 125 grain bullet at 1250 to 1300 feet per second. That was the key, the velocity. Now, these new bullets, like the 7.75 Bernault and the old 7.62 Tokarev CZ, was doing 16, 17, 1,800 feet per second out of a pistol. Now think about that. The Magnum was a proven man stopper at 1,300 feet per second. You got cartridges that are just smoking that by 400 feet per second. And when you read about ammunition like this, and it makes people kind of steer away from it, they always say, oh my gosh, it's an over-penetrator. Hello, Mr. Gunwriter, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay? If I'm addressing somebody in personal defense, home defense, self-defense, whatever you want to call it, and I'm running a AR-15, a 5.56 carbine, 300 blackout carbine, 6.8 carbine, it's doing 1,000 feet per second faster than these pistol cartridges. But you never talk about over-penetration with that, right? But whenever you get to these bottleneck pistol cartridges, first thing they write about, oh, this is great. Thank you to manufacturer for giving it to me, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, it's going to over-penetrate. It's going to over-penetrate your sheetrock walls and everything else. Well, if I'm running a 12-gauge shotgun or an AR, it's going to over-penetrate.
Everything goes through drywall, guys.
So if you've got something, to me, the reason I like bottleneck cartridges, pistol cartridges, is I'm in that 15, 16, 1,700 feet per second. That gives me 50 to 75 yards all day long. Okay? Now, one of the problems, and here I'm going to sound like a gun right now, with something negative. They do tend to have a lot of muzzle flash, a lot of muzzle blast. But with firearms, pistols today, we all use muzzle brakes, recoil reduction, and everything else. You guys know I love myself some Flaming Pig. So, two of the handguns, hold it up, I can't see it. There we go.
Flaming Pig.
I run a Flaming Pig on my Smith & Wesson 5.7. Love it. Love it. Everybody's like, oh, you got a silencer on your gun. That's not a silencer. Why you keep sticking your fingers in your ears when I shoot if it's a silencer, right? The old Hollywood stuff with the revolvers with a silencer on it.
Yeah, I love that.
Go figure that.
Yeah.
But, so I am going to show you two of the latest and greatest pistols. And let me specify this right now to the YouTube monitors. I am not physically contacting the handguns. I'm contacting the rack that the handguns sit on, so please don't shut us down. The latest and greatest that we're talking about, remember the 7.62 Bernault and the 7.62 Tokarev CZ52. Now what's interesting and what I want to show you guys, this is the Bernault. This is the CZ52. This handgun was developed in like 1955, 1960 something, running that 7.62 by 25 millimeter cartridge at 1,600 feet per second. Okay, that is pretty damn hot for something that was made 40 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
And I had no idea about that until I ran into one with a guy that was into Soviet ammo, and I picked that pistol up for like $165. You can pick up a Makarov, a Tokarev, and a CZ52 for about $165 US. I don't know what they are now, but this shoots a 7.62 cartridge at 1,600 feet per second. That's what I call a man stopper. It's a coyote stopper. It's any kind of stopper that's within range of what a pistol should be in range of. So all you guys jump on your search engines, type in CZ52, and you might want to take a look at that. It's got an awkward kind of feel to it. The slide is kind of at an angle where you can't really flatten it out for a red dot sight, but us being Americans, we're intuitive. We'll always come up with something. Can you hold it for me? There we go. Hold that, hold that. Where's the ammo? Where's my ammo? Okay, so basically, we're talking about these two cartridges out of those two pistols. The Bernault is more modern. The CZ52 is 50-something years old, but they still get the job done. So don't touch it. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I actually didn't know about the Renault till I was at the
FK Burno.
At the
Big Daddy Unlimited Epic Shoot.
Big Daddy Unlimited Shoot in Brunswick, Georgia, about 2 years ago.
And guys, this pistol right here, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. It's awesome. It's made for bear. And Emery shot a whitetail with it, and it dropped right where it was standing. Of course, Emery hit it right where he was supposed to. But I'm trying to find that other bullet. Here it is, right here. They make hollow points, obviously, and they're solid copper. They expand, but then they make a no shit solid copper one with no. It's not designed to come apart at all. This one is actually designed for penetration, for bear to get through that big ass skull, and. We had nothing bad to say about this. We put a red dot on Emery's pistol. We have two of them. This one here and Emery's, and we had done all these different things. We're getting ready to come out with the video. We actually asked them, we're like, hey, we need another 1,000 rounds of ammo, because it's fun to shoot and everything. But then I heard all of a sudden they went radio silent, and the guy Elvis, the head guy at the company there for FK Burno USA, went radio silent, and the last word I heard was they don't sell them anymore. I'm like, damn, it was going to be a good YouTube video. We were just a couple months short putting it out. So anyways, bottleneck cartridges, guys. Y'all remember that church shooting down in Texas? I think it was Texas. The guy walked up front with a shotgun, killed one person, but before he could rack it and turn it on the next person, the church security guy, it was like a I want to say 25, 30 meter shot. One round, 357 SIG. He had a Glock chambered in 357 SIG, iron sights. Shot the guy, dropped him right in his Kool-Aid right there. And
in his Kool-Aid?
Anyways, the 357 SIG is designed to hit hard, like Steve was talking about.
So basically, the 357 SIG was designed as a pistol cartridge to fit in a Glock size platform, like a Glock 17 and 19, and have the ballistic match to the 357 Magnum from the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. A 35 caliber projectile at 1,300 feet per second, which they knew was a man stopper, but the only company that I know of that's ever built a semi-automatic pistol in 357 Magnum, which is a rimmed cartridge, is Coonan. Coonan.
But that's a big ass gun you're not going to carry. It's too big to carry.
Well, I mean, not like some people don't carry 1911s.
I wouldn't carry a 1911 either. It's
So the 357 SIG is designed to be a man stopper, basically.
It is shorter than a 357
It's the length
Magnum
of a 9 mil.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the 40 Smith & Wesson case neck down to 9 mil.
And very hot with gunpowder. They're not fun to shoot. You're not going to be doing hammered pairs with it. It's basically single shot. And if that's your type of shooting, you don't like to zip a guy up. You don't like to do to the chest, one of the heads. You don't. If you're a bullseye guy, for example, that church security guy, he was his thing was accuracy. Okay, then that single bullet he shot saved the day, without a doubt. Got a question here from Jill.
This is the 357 SIG.
Yep. See how short that is, guys? That's really short. Jill Negrette. Hi, Steve and Carl. Do you have any stories of working with Shrek McPhee? You know a Shrek McPhee? I've heard the name, but I don't know him personally. You know Shrek McPhee.
Shrek? Isn't that like a Disney cartoon, Shrek?
Well, it is. You understand?
That is
So
not a
that'd be a
name
no.
you would readily forget. I don't recall ever working with him.
Peter from Hong Kong threw
some
down
Hong
10 Hong Kong shekels. I want to say that's 40 cents, something like that.
But
Peter
appreciate
here, comma, your thoughts on tungsten carbide ammo?
I hope you got some
Yeah,
tungsten
you
Hong
understand,
Kong tungsten dollars.
Tungsten carbide is used steel core in it's used for core in certain armor piercing rounds, but it is not. It's not designed to be used in a civilian capacity.
Now you can get tungsten.
You can. Oh yeah, you can own it. I've got Barrett 50 cal rounds with tungsten. No, I do. I just
I'm not doubting
me.
it. I'm not doubting it. You know,
I don't have a lot of them, but
the thing is,
how many Bearcats do you got to kill? You know,
yeah.
you park 2 or 3 of them halfway down the hill, and they'll quit coming up. They'll quit coming up the hill.
Tungsten as a metal is heavy for volume.
Yes.
Okay, that's why they use it as armor piercing rounds, especially in tank rounds.
Yeah.
And if you were ever overseas in the Middle East or any of these wars, that Sable round from the M1 Abrams tank is a freaking. I can't even describe it. I mean, I've seen it where it's hit T-62s and literally damn near suck the guys inside the tank out of the tank. But it leaves
and that's got the depleted uranium in it, which is even a heavier metal than tungsten carbide. I got another one here, Hammerhead 1341. That's on man. His mom must have had a shit ton of kids that have to labor them. He threw down 10 bones. Hey Steve, comma. 1960 was 64 years ago, not 40. I do that too. Sometimes I will say just the other day, and then realize it was 20 years ago. Getting old ain't for sissies. He just counseled you on math. You suck, Steve.
Did I say 1960? What did I say 1960? I said the CZ was made from 1955, maybe the 60s.
I don't know. Philip Wilson threw down $5.
Philip!
Can you guys bring G some of these cool weapons
Firearms
to Patreon this year, please? Here's, I don't know what the G means, but one thing I will say is the Patreon course this year, I have got... of course, we're going to have the suppressed Barrett 50 cal there. We have got guys bringing Revolutionary War guns. We have got a bunch of full autos, MP5s, bunch of stuff. We're also going to be bringing the M1 Garands, the 30-06 rifles. We've got a whole bunch of great stuff. Of course, we'll have some full auto AKs and stuff there. But we're still going to do our exotic weapons day that we always do. When I say exotic, I mean we went everything from Randy's spears and throwing bolos all the way up to Barrett 50 cals and literally everything in between. So yes, Philip, we're going to have some more great guns here. I'm actually trying to lock in the range, and I don't want the spoiler alert here, but I believe the range we're going to use actually has a wooded area next to it, and we're going to have like a Hogan's Alley cut up through the woods that you guys can run down timed, and it's going to be all Randy's paper targets that when you shoot them, if they break the balloon behind the chest, the targets actually fall. So we'll have cartoon targets up, heads and everything, and when you shoot them, the targets will actually fall, and then you'll go and you'll be on the clock doing it. So Philip, we're gonna have us a great time at Patreon, guys. Again, if you're interested in coming, you have to be a Patreon. Patreon.com/Tactical Rifleman. You can become a patron of ours, and again, we appreciate the support of our $1 patrons as much as our top of the line patrons. I'm not going to say how much some of them are.
Philip, when you say the kind of exotic firearm. We don't say weapon. A hatchet can be a weapon. A screwdriver can be a weapon. If you're John Wick, a pencil.
I've never killed anybody with a screwdriver.
But John Wick killed people with a pencil.
Pencil.
Baba Yaga. So, Philip, give us an example of what you would consider as exotic that you don't own, that you think that we might have access to, that we can bring.
Yep.
Let us know.
Right now, we're looking, Sularu bringing a bunch of his black powder revolvers and stuff. Kevin Jimerson's probably going to bring some of his muzzle loaders. He's a big reenactment guy that does muzzle loaders and stuff. Good stuff indeed. Coach is actually coming up, driving up from Texas to Kentucky. Next week, he arrives Monday night. We are going to film all day Tuesday. We've got a bunch of new shooting drills that Coach wants to do videos of. And I'm big on doing shooting drill videos. And then he drives home on Wednesday. I leave Thursday. So I do not, my schedule's crazy. Big Fezzig, hey Carl, has Carl ever killed a boar with a knife like Mac did in Predator? You know, I've always wanted to kill someone with a spear. It's on my to-do list.
To kill someone or a boar, an animal?
Someone.
A person.
It's on my list. Yeah, it's on my list. But I
like to see
one of
your
God's
list.
creatures.
I like to see what else is on your list.
I got some stuff on my list, dude. I got some stuff. So, anyways,
if you ever see Carl coming towards you with a spear, it's not to show you what the spear looks like.
I've never killed a boar with a
Bowie knife.
A Bowie knife or any. I actually know a SF guy. He was a master sergeant from 3rd Group. He got blown up bad. He was in B-23, medically retired and everything. But they actually got him on video. He had 2 big pig stickers, like Kraken's pig stickers. You know, I got Kraken's pig sticker hanging up here, guys. I don't know if y'all can see it right here, right there. Yeah, you guys like my mask, don't you? Yeah. Anyways, that's for wearing at the bank and everything, right? He actually jumped off the skids of the Little Bird helicopter, and what they did was they chased the hog around out in the fields, wouldn't let it get to the woods, and finally the pig just got so tired and said, "The hell with y'all, I'm not moving anymore." And the helicopter, basically, as it came up, hovered about 4 feet above it, and he jumped down and stabbed the hog, and with his knives killed it, which I think is badass. Okay.
For further ado, want to know if either one of us has ever had to engage an aircraft during our combat time.
You understand, the U.S. ever since Vietnam has always had air superiority. We learned in Vietnam, day one, establish air superiority. So, no, I've never had to shoot at an enemy aircraft.
Now, I've had a United States aircraft shoot at me.
I had in Ethiopia MiGs strafing the runway, but my ass was not returning fire. And they were doing dry runs. They were doing dry runs on our airfield, rehearsing before they went to go shoot up the Eritrean airfield.
But further ado, I'm going to tell you how intense my episode was. I still remember the lead pilot of a United States Air Force A-10.
Oh shit, A-10?
His call sign was Buckshot 25. To this day,
I bet you remember that. I bet.
Buckshot 25.
I bet you remember that.
We were Serpent 730. Tom Joe was our combo guy, and I remember sitting and listening to the radio. Serpent 730, this is Buckshot 25. We have ceasefire. Please confirm that there are no injuries. I was like, I'm gonna make it short. We had some Iraqis across from us, so we called in an airstrike. And there was a reporter with us. This is way back in the days of like Walter Cronkite and shit like that. Richard Threadcare was
Walter was good people.
Oh, he was. But I'm talking about the age difference.
Yeah, the age difference. Okay.
So we had identified a target, got with our TAC piece, said, hey, we got this, we're going to come in. So I was explaining to the reporter, I said, the aircraft are going to come down this highway. There's this huge water tower. We gave them that water tower as the check-in point. And then as they approach that water tower, they're going to call in and check in. And the TAC-P is going to ask them what their sortie is. How many aircraft, how much time on target, what's your munitions? Okay? So everybody's like, yeah, straight. And some guy goes, hey, I see them, here they come. And these two A-10s just like flew over us. And I remember asking Tom Job, our common man was working with the TAC-P. I said, Tom, I said, what are they doing? He goes, I don't know, man. Maybe they're going to go check out the area, the coordinates that we gave them.
Yeah.
And normally they would come in, low. But these guys, because we're into Iraq, they're afraid of the ZSU anti-aircraft. They were up at like 8, 9, 10,000 feet. So as they went toward the target area, they flew past it. And I was explaining to the reporter, I said, now, when they come back and our TAC-P takes control, he's going to have them, the designated points on the ground, and they're going to go in, then they're going to pop up to 10,000 feet, and then they're going to make their gun run. And the reporter, we were still looking the direction they went. And he turns to me about 30 seconds later. He said, you mean pop up like that right there? And I looked up, and they were popped up, but they were coming back toward us. And I was standing there. I said, I can forget the TAC-P's name. I remember telling him, Tom Joe, I said, hey, man, are they doing a practice run? He said, what do you mean? I said, they just popped up, coming this way. Everybody looked up, and just as I said that, you see lead break off. And I was looking at it, and I saw these two tiny black dots.
Oh, shit.
Still where his, track was, but he's popped up, and I see these two dots. And I was sitting there thinking.
That's ordnance.
I remember thinking to myself, I know that motherfucker didn't just drop on us. And that man, Bill Bruce, God bless him, he grabs me and goes, run! I went, oh shit, he is dropping. And of course, everything in the Middle East has walls around the homes. Yeah. And we were kind of like in a neighborhood. So we ran through the wall and got down, and those two Mark 82s hit. Oh my gosh. I said, I know what the enemy feels like. So we're on the radio just yelling at the TAC-P, get him off of us, get him off of us, get him off. And then somebody said, here comes number 2. Number 2 popped up and rolled. And like not even 10 seconds after number 2 Mark 82s hit, number 1 was backing on the gun run. I was like, oh my God. And when you see that A-10 slow down.
Whoa, that 30 millimeter on the
oh my God.
I watched it from the side of him coming in. Shit, no.
You see him coming in?
You want to be in the front of that.
He's doing, I don't know, 405 miles an hour like this. Then you see him slow down. Then you see this puff of smoke around him. Here it comes. I wasn't worried that much about the bomb because I could see where they were heading. But when I saw that gun run come in, I got small. Small, man. I'm talking about leprechaun small. I'm talking about dwarf small. And they broke off, and Tom Job, and God bless him to this day, our common guy, he got on the, what's the emergency radio?
Yeah, the little bailout radio.
The PRC 92, 93. There's a search and rescue radio everybody gets, but you don't go up on the guard channel. You don't go up on that channel ever.
That's where if a pilot gets shot down, everybody monitors it just in case. You're the only person he sees. Everybody monitors it, but nobody ever talks on it. So
PRC 93, I think it was. Tom Joe picked up PRC 93. He said, "There's any American aircraft dropping bombs and making gun runs on this area in this town. Cease and desist. We're gonna kick y'all's ass." I was like, "Damn, Tom, man, they probably live like 400 miles from here." I don't know about, but the AWACS came up on the net, and the AWACS said, "Whoever this is a restricted channel. Get off it." He said, "We are in this place, and an A-10 is hitting friendly troops." The guy goes, "Stand by." And he goes, about 45 seconds later, he goes, "Okay, we got him on the radio. We're waving them off." But what happened was, when the mission went up to King Fahd.
Yep, International Air Base, yep.
to come in and make that
That's
run
when
for
the
us.
A-10s were out of in Desert Storm, guys.
When the mission went in, somebody between us and all of them, instead of it being a call for fire mission,
Yeah.
with the originator in control, the pilots got it as an AI, which is an air interdiction. So what the guy told us later on was he was just given a box.
Go
Kill everything.
kill everything in the box.
And I asked him later on, I said, well, didn't you see the VS-17 panels on top of our vehicles? He goes, sir, I'm at 10,000 feet doing 600 miles an hour. I don't see much of nothing. And to this day, so any of you guys have an uncle or cousin or somebody that was in the Air Force and he flew A-10s and his call sign in Desert Storm was Buckshot 25, you tell him I'm talking about it. You tell him still to this day, we're talking about him. Because
Steve got worked up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that gun run.
I bet, dude. That would suck to third
No,
power.
I want to say
Woo.
he missed me and the three guys that were huddled together with me probably about 15 meters. And that ain't danger close. That's damn too close.
Damn too close.
That's damn too close.
The Gus Stash is back with 10 more bones. Sir, thank you for your no bullshit info regarding an emergency response. Okay. Guys, I can't stress it enough. Please, if you can ever help anybody, don't delay. I don't care if you're driving up on a car wreck. Don't drive by. All right, just because, there'll be an ambulance along in 20 minutes. People running, why are they running? Ask yourself, why are they running? And then you need to make that decision. Do you need to be running? All right, chances are that's a yes, but what direction do you need to be running in?
I'm going to give you an example. I was coming up on a Fort Campbell Boulevard, 41A,
Yep.
to a stop sign. The car in the turn lane tried to beat this car across the street. When the jump's sitting at the stop sign, he's trying to turn here, and then he tries to beat him across the street. This car hit him, spun him. The car that hit him and spun him hit somebody else. And then 3 or 4 cars got piled up. So it was a lot of people out there responding to it. So I'm kind of sitting here at the stop sign because when he spun, he hit me and then spun off me. So I got to wait for the police officers to take the report. Yeah. The guy that, when he tried to cross too fast, the guy that hit him, I don't know how he was holding his steering wheel, but when it hit him, it spun his steering wheel, and his hand must have been inside the steering wheel, and it snapped his wrist in half.
Yep.
He just snapped it in half. So we're trying to help this guy.
Yeah.
And then when the police came up and the emergency guys came up, it was probably 8 or 9, 10 people standing around. And I just so happened to walk past the car that had got spun, because I thought that everybody else thought the guy that was standing by the car and walked over to the ambulance was the guy driving the car.
Yeah.
And I happened to walk past his car after the police took the report. We talk about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. And
I just happened to look in his car to see if there was any damage done. When I looked, there was a person leaned over toward the passenger side underneath the passenger console. I thought it was the driver that came back, maybe looking for his license or something over here.
Yeah.
You reach over.
Yeah.
And after a while I said, wait a minute, that guy's all the way under the glove box area.
Yeah.
And I saw his chest doing this. I mean, let's right here. And it's dark. I said, oh shit. I said, hey, there's somebody in this car. And the police came running over, the medics come running over, and they said, oh my gosh, they opened the door, and this guy, the impact, when he started spinning, spun him underneath the glove box from his butt was still in the driver's seat. The rest of his body was stuck underneath the driver's. And the cop turned and looked at me and goes, man, we fucked up. I was like, okie dokie. They had to get the jaws of life or whatever you call it and pry him out.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't walked over to see if I could help the guy with the snapped wrist, I mean, what am I going to do? Say, hey man, hold on, I got some duct tape in the car. Gotcha.
Hey, man, nice to meet you. My name's Steve. Oh,
Yeah.
that kind of, did that
And
hurt?
I just happened to walk over and say, well, let me check this car anyway. And I happened to look in and
Wave at him. Hey, man.
And I thought the guy was...
How you doing?
Yeah. I thought he had leaned down to get something out of the glove box, and then I realized his shoulders, head, and other shoulder were underneath, and his hips, his butt was in the driver's seat. All I remember was his chest was going like this right here. I was like, oh my gosh. So
We got another one here from Tactical Gristle. Hi, Steve and Carl.
Is that like Gristle?
Comma. Will you do new vids on the GMV? Guys, the ground mobility vehicle, or what we call the DMV, the desert mobility vehicle, the SF Humvee that 5th Group had, where they were all modded out. They were most of the mods were actually done by Mill Systems Group out of Nashville, or done in-house by 5th Group themselves. We did that video. It's like an hour long. I went and filmed it with Jay Johnson down.
Jay Johnson.
Yeah, we had all the mounts and everything. I'm not saying we won't go back down the Mill Systems Group, but understand they're phasing out the DMVs, GMVs, and they've gone to the Flyers now, the 1.1s.
GMV 1.1.
Yeah.
But the Army has...
A different vehicle.
SOCOM bought the Flyer vehicle, the GMV 1.1.
They'll fit inside the 47s.
They should have called it the GMV in the first place. The Army just competed for a new vehicle, and GM, of course, won a contract. It's called the ISV. So if you look up...
What does ISV stand for?
Infantry Support Vehicle.
Okay.
Now here's the crazy thing between the ISV and the Flyer GMV 1.1. The Flyer, you can run 4 240s, a 50 cal, a Mark 19, or my favorite,
the minigun,
yeah. And the M230 LF 30 millimeter from the Apache.
Yeah.
The ISV carries 9 infantry soldiers, a squad. And has no heavy weapons.
Because that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Because their thing was, well, when the infantry guys get there, they're going to carry their weapons to the fight. I said, well, are you going to leave somebody back with the vehicle? They said, well, no, because the whole infantry dismounts. You got 2 fire teams. I said, I can see Haji right now sitting up near the hill. Oh, they left their vehicles. You know?
And there's no key to start that thing. You understand? It's a switch.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old swords robot that I got in that battle with.
Yeah.
The ISIS guys would just let it roll past them in the cave, and they walk in behind it, knock the
camera
and steering thing off. There's still all the ammunition and gas
and
off
the 240.
Yeah, we call it the
Haji resupply.
Yeah, the Haji resupply robot. And sometimes they got engineers and scientists. They have great ideas, but they don't understand the on the ground application.
They really don't.
How things work.
They really
don't.
Know? Annalise and Kyle Beeler threw down $10 US, and they didn't have a question come. They're just throwing money down.
Thank you, Annalise.
Annalise, I appreciate that. Kyle, if you're sitting next to her, thank you so much. You too. We love you. Jesse Spittler threw down $5. He's got a 3 next to it with a couple of balloons. Hey, Carl and Steve. I unintentionally depress the slide release with my support hand when I shoot a Glock 17. Is this bad? It feels okay. Thanks. Yeah, the reason why it feels okay is because that support hand thumb, you want it to have somewhere to sit, okay? And we call it a gas pedal. But if you actually lock that wrist like you should, you'll find that thumb will actually slide forward and you won't be pressing it down anymore. Guys, you do not want to press and hold down that slide release. A lot of guys, because you understand a Glock 17, which is a full-size frame, it comes with a regular slide release that is the same as the one on the Glock 19. The Glock 34, which is the same size frame as a Glock 17, it just has a longer slide. It's more of a competition pistol. A lot of guys will, or a Glock 34 comes with what's called an extended slide release. and it's kind of it's better because it's extended, an extended mag release, an extended slide release, better for competition. It's just more shit to get in the way. I actually take the extended mag release and file it off. It's plastic, it's a Glock. I take my Dremel tool and I file it down to where it sits comfortably in my hand. But I always take my extended slide release and swap it with a normal slide release. But if you've got a good grip, what I mean by that, guys, is normal grip of a Glock, your thumb sits, there's actually a dent on the side of a Glock where the side of the grip, you hold it right there. When you add that other hand, that support side or that control side hand, once you lock that wrist, raise that thumb and see the curve of the hand right there. I've got that same curve right here. Lock it in, and you're just stacking, you just drop that thumb on top, and what you'll see is it leaves a pocket on the top. And that pocket is going to protect that slide release from being held down. Your slide will now lock to the rear, number one, but because you're locking that wrist, it will actually help you manage recoil better. All right? Because remember, I don't want you to just shoot one bullet and be comfortable, because understand you're already going to court. Anybody worth shooting once is worth shooting twice. So I want you to be able to manage recoil so that you can shoot fast. And to shoot fast, guys, you've got to be able to manage recoil. And to do that, you really need to lock those wrists. Doesn't matter if you hold it back here, hold it out here, lock your elbows, doesn't matter. The gun is still going to jump unless you lock those wrists. And if you don't understand what I'm saying when I say lock your wrists, make fists and do push-ups on your wrists. And what you'll see is you've got to lock your wrists. If you don't lock your wrists, your hand will fall. So you've got to lock and if you're not strong enough to do push-ups on your knuckles, just do it up against the wall, guys. Literally, put your knuckles up against the wall and lay your leg, put your feet back a few feet and just do push-ups on the wall, and you'll see you have to lock your wrists. That's what I need you to do. You need to lock your wrists. If you will learn to lock your wrists, cant that wrist forward, lock it in next to the gun so that this row of knuckles and this row of knuckles form a hinge, right? Like a nutcracker to help you manage that recoil. You stack those thumbs properly, all right? You'll find you'll manage recoil better, but the added benefit is you won't have to worry about that slide not locking back anymore. Your slide will completely lock back. Woo, shit. Okay, God, you guys have been with me for an hour and 42 minutes. That is awesome. Bunch of nutbags. Tell Steve I got a present for him. I give it to you at Mountain Readiness to pass on. He has to wear it on the next live stream. Nah, I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to just surprise him with it. All right. All right, guys. You know the deal. Steve had to hit the head. We're getting ready to wrap this up here. We don't have to go 2 hours. You understand? Once our numbers start dropping off and everything. But again, I mentioned that we've got classes coming up. I encourage people to sign up early for classes. Here's the other thing is the month of June, the first half of June, I am going to be taking Emery. Chris Smith wanted to take Leaf LeBlanc with me, but he broke his neck. But I also got David Duenas and his daughter. I got Kyle Lamb from Viking Tactical. I got my son Nicholas and me. We are all going to go parachute into Normandy, France for the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Why this is important, one, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, opportunity for me and my son to hang out. But here's why I want to stress it to you guys, is this is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And you hear people talk about the greatest generation, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at what happened in World War II compared to Vietnam and the Korean War, and I'm not taking anything away from the Korean War and Vietnam and Desert Storm and the Global War on Terror and the Falkland Islands dispute and what's happening in Ukraine and Gaza and everything. But if you look at World War II was a no shit The whole planet, the entire planet, guys. You understand, there were ships fighting in the Arctic Circle, and there were submarines building bases in Antarctica. When I say it was the world, it was the entire freaking world. It was all 7 continents, right? All these World War II vets are gone. There's very few of them left alive, and you know, when we forget we forget the sacrifices and the mistakes that people made, we repeat the same mistakes. So it's important that we remember the people that went before us. So anyways, I noticed on Netflix that Band of Brothers was playing. You understand, I was in the military. I actually used to be in the 101st Airborne before I went Special Forces. So I knew a lot of the history of the unit. Now, I was an Air Assault Division then. They switched in Vietnam. But that was an airborne unit in World War II. So anyway, Band of Brothers came on. It's on Netflix right now if you guys want to watch it. So my son had literally just got home from the hospital, and his girlfriend was here, and they were down in the man room watching some movie on TV, and I'm going through Band of Brothers, and I was like, I just want to, because there's a lot of the World War II history I didn't even know of. Easy Company of the 101st Airborne. Okay, I knew the words: Bastogne, Battle of the Bulge, Caratan, Operation Market Garden, D-Day. You learn these names, especially when they're written up on the walls and all the monuments everywhere. So anyways, the end of the first episode, they're getting on the plane, and plane takes off, and I'm like, that would have been cool for my son, because remember, my son has done airborne school at Round Canopy Parachute Team. I don't know if you guys saw, I got my jacket back here. They actually got me a jacket for being the airborne commander in March. I was like, I appreciate them getting that for me. I'll probably never wear it in public. It's nice though. It was a nice. Anyways, right? It's a bomber jacket. But the second episode starts with them doing the jump. So I actually had Nicholas and his girlfriend come up. I'm like, Nick, I want you to understand, this is why we're going back over. This is, we're going back over to honor the guys that actually did this. They jumped up 6 inches, out 36 inches, got pulled by the wind running down the side of the airplane, and gravity brought them to the ground. And a lot of the guys were dead before they even got on the ground. And so anyways, he came up and watched it. If you've never watched it, it's on Netflix right now. You can go straight to the second episode. There's 11 episodes. I haven't watched half of them. But I encourage you to go watch. If you watch nothing else, watch episode 2 of Band of Brothers. And the cool part is me and my son Nicholas. Again, we do daylight jumps down in Florida, Palatka, Florida. But being in that door and giving the jump commands, 6 minutes, get ready, first pass personnel, stand up, giving all those jump commands, and having my son right there as the first jumper to put him in the door. It's really, really cool. And the big thing is, I want you guys to understand, we cannot forget the mistakes, but also the successes and the sacrifices that we have made as a nation. So when I see people talking about they want to take down statues across the U.S., I caution people about this, because I remember the Taliban taking 122 artillery pieces and shelling these 3,000-year-old Buddhist statues that were built into the side of the mountain in Afghanistan. They're 3,000 years old. and the Taliban shelled them with artillery, made them disappear. They're gone forever. Nobody will ever be able to appreciate them. But before you want to start taking down statues like Auschwitz in Poland, but before you let the Germans erase their history of what Hitler did in World War II, and what these other people, whether you are on one side, Confederate or Union, for the Civil War, before you start taking down statues, understand somebody put that statue up, which meant that at some time in this nation's or that nation's history, there were people that thought it was important enough to spend their money and time to erect that statue, and it was important to them. And when you just say, well, it offends my non-binary gender or whatever it may be, I don't care. Sometimes it is good.
Carl's talking politics.
Sometimes it is good for us to be offended. The Nazis, the Germans do not like to talk about the Nazis and what happened in Auschwitz and what happened in Ukraine. You understand? I went to Ukraine in 2015, and when I went through the National Museum there's a machine there in the museum that the Germans built in World War II, and the sole job of it was to grind up all the bones of the Ukrainians and the Jews that they had killed there so that they could use it as calcium fertilizer in the fields. How many bones, I want that to sink in, how many bones do you have to have laying around to think, Steve, we really need to build a special machine just to grind them up? Yeah. How many bones do you have to have? And for the Germans to say, well, we want to forget about that. The Holocaust never happened. I own it. Same thing here. Instead of saying we need to take that down because it offends me, own it. Own it. That is part of not just mine, not just him, not just her. It is part of our history. And when you start erasing history, we start repeating history.
Because one day somebody might want to come in and erase the history that you're producing.
Yeah.
And I tell you, last summer when JP was here.
Yeah.
You know JP.
Yeah, JP.
I took him over to the 101st Airborne Museum.
Yeah.
And we walked around. They have a full-size, authentic
glider.
World War II glider inside the 101st Airborne Museum. JP walked into that glider and he started looking around. He's like, oh my gosh, this is all 2x4s and canvas.
And cloth, yeah.
There's no motor,
there's
no engine, there's no propeller, there's no armor. It's plywood, 2x4s, 2x2s, some metal tubing, and the wings and the body and the seats are made out of canvas. Can you imagine? Because I can't. I was in the airborne unit for 30 years. I couldn't imagine 30 of us being in this kite. It's a glider. Going, not like gliders today. We see guys up in the mountains gliding around. I'm talking about we're going into combat. We're crossing the English Channel, and they are waiting for us. I thought I had it bad when Buckshot 25 A-10 was strafing us. They're waiting for you. They've had years to build this, what do you call it, the Maginot Line.
Mackinac Line, yeah.
Mackinac, Maginot, but you know what I'm talking about. And if the Germans were good at anything, it's machine gun tactics.
Yep.
You got an MG-34 firing on you. The guy behind it probably knows how to use it. And you're in a glider made out of canvas. God bless those guys to give it to them. Because like they always say, that was the best generation. That was a kick-ass generation.
That was a kick-ass generation. The old crusty guy you see walking around, he can't hear what the shit. His ears are real big because your ears keep growing forever. And he's all broke down. You understand, he would whip your ass, dude, 20 years ago. Just 20 years ago, let alone 40 years ago. He'd just smile at you and be like, I'll give you the first punch. I'll give you first punch. I don't need these teeth anyways. Make it. But I'm gonna rip you apart.
When I was back on the team before I started sniper school, we were going into Iran after silkworm missiles. Of course, they give you your mission, then you go into isolation, and you plan the mission.
Cool part about SF.
And I remember going in, and my team sergeant was like, "Oh, Steve, you're the lead sniper. You're gonna go in there. We're gonna do this thing." I said, I'm still trying to get past the part where we're going to get out at 20,000 feet under oxygen in free fall, come on the canopy by the calculations of the winds, direction, speed, come on the canopy about 14 to 15,000 feet, land in Iran, and then go and take out these silkworm missiles. I said, do you guys understand that they can see us on radar? They were like, oh, well, it's going to be an aircraft that's got a code and password for a commercial cargo plane that's going to be going that way all the time. I said, no, not the plane. They can see us. Parachutes under canopy. He goes, oh, no, they can't see that. I said, they can see birds, flocks of birds. Why in the hell won't they see 14 SF guys with MT1 XX fucking square parachutes? So we did a jump at Fort Bragg onto, well, this is Suckshine. What's the big one at Bragg?
I don't even remember.
Well, we asked range control if they could track us, because they control all the flights doing training, helicopters and everything else. So we dropped and then, recovered on the way back from the drop zone, stopped at range control, and the guy gave us the printouts. He said, there's your plane. It was a C-130, 12,000 feet. He said, that's you guys in free fall. That's you guys opening these chutes. That's you guys on the canopy. That's you guys going into the trees, in the tree line. And I so when you got somebody, I'm in a glider made out of canvas, and somebody says, hey, we're going to tow you with these planes, and when we get about this far across the English Channel, when we get over to Normandy, you're going to see these bursts of flak starting to come off. Now, if it gets too bad, we're just going to cut you loose from the plane. Keep in mind, these guys don't have parachutes. They don't have parachutes. They're landing with the glider. So if the plane comes under too much anti-aircraft flak, the pilot is going to say, cut them loose. And he's going to, using his engines, he's going to fly away, hopefully, and make it. That glider is on his own. They got this big stick sitting in the middle, right?
One stick.
Yeah, this guy, I was like.
I think it was two guys, right?
Yeah.
Two, yeah.
And these things, they didn't even have wheels on these things.
They had wheels for takeoff, but the wheels drop off.
Drop off. So wherever you landed, hopefully it was smooth or something, because
good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Next week, I don't have Steve here next week. I've got Kevin Jimerson's going to be here next week. All right, because Kevin's going to be staying here. I don't need both you guys here.
Well, next week was when we were supposed to do the video with Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition.
I can't do it next Tuesday. That's the only day Coach can come up. It's the only day.
Okay. Oh, it's Coach.
Coach,
I will not argue with Carl about this Tuesday, because we were supposed to do Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition. Because I don't know Coach by his real name.
Kevin.
Okay, I didn't know. All you had to do is say, hey,
he
Coach
always goes by
out.
Coach. He goes by Coach.
Coach, Texas A&M marksmanship coach.
Yeah.
Texas A&M kicked ass this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they smoked it. Hey, just real quick note, guys. Those pictures of the John Wayne movie, The Green Beret, that we had up, and we can go into detail on another show. I know you guys have heard me mention that. Someone, one of the viewers last week, asked me what inspired me to go into the military. And I told him that when I was 8 or 9 years old, my sister took me to the Saturday matinee at Lanier Theater in Brunswick, Georgia. Back then it was like cartoons, like 4, 5, or 6 cartoons for a quarter. That's a lot of money back then, a quarter. So they let us stay for the first movie, and I begged my sister, Linda, to let me stay for the movie. And we didn't live that far away, a couple of blocks past the football field in Brunswick over on K Avenue. And she said, well, it takes this long, I'm going to come back about this time, then you walk straight out of the theater, I'm going to wait for you outside. I said, okay. And that movie at the time, I didn't know what it was. I just, the movie. It was John Wayne, the Green Beret.
The Green Berets.
Never knowing that movie,
Little did he know.
1968, maybe 1969, I was 9 years old, that movie was an inspiration to me because I played football and I wanted to work to get a scholarship at Savannah State in Savannah, Georgia as a cornerback. Well, I ended up in the military with my friends who turned around and decided they didn't want to be in the military. And Carl and I talked about it, I realized, and Carl said, hey, that movie inspired him to want to be a Green Beret. It didn't inspire me because I had no intent, but this is how God works. This is how the kingdom of heaven works. Not only did watching that movie subconsciously or delayed make me want to be a Green Beret, I remember my favorite part of the movie was when the camp got attacked and they got overrun, and then the next day they said, hey, we got Puff the Magic Dragon on the line. They want to know where you want it.
Puff the ground where you want it.
He said, put it on the camp.
Those people have it.
Yeah, those people own it. And all of a sudden you see these two miniguns out the side of the C-47, which is modified now as AC-130 spook ship. And they start, this is how the kingdom of heaven works. I would have never guessed that 28, 29 years later, I would be the inspiration for getting miniguns to 5th Group and then the other Special Forces groups and then to all of SOCOM to take into combat. And it could be in there somewhere where some little angel said, hey man, this is another thing you got to do since you watched that movie. I would have never related any of that to, but I remember when we first got the guns, Jay Johnson and I, Jay had a big part in that because Jay was the first one to show it to me. I'd never seen it not attached to an aircraft. And Jay showed me, hey, we can attach these things to tripod mounts and stuff like that. I said, well, I got an idea. And the battery situation helped a lot because if you hit the vehicle, take the vehicle out, like in Baghdad with 10th Group, they got hit. And you got to have, that gun still got to run. And they burnt that vehicle, that GMV to the ground. I mean, it burnt it looked like something from Hawaii in that fire. That's how bad it was. But the gun survived. We ended up getting that gun back like a year later. And to watch that movie, not realizing that I love that part, because I used to have it on VHS. Hey, let's play the part where Puff the Magic Dragon comes in. Not realizing that 29 years later, I'm going to be the one like, hey, you guys in Fallujah, the Marines, you need some help? We got some help for you. Yeah, light them up.
All right, hey guys, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. A big thanks to Venture Surplus. You guys know the deal. Check out their website for me, please. If you need anything, right? You got we're rolling into the summer, but we're also rolling into voting politics season and hunting season. But it's also camping season, guys. So get yourself your good military stuff at venturesurplus.com. I appreciate them supporting us. All right. Big thanks to all my moderators for helping us run the show here tonight. I know a couple of them have already had to take off because they had to go back to work. That's awesome. For all my patrons, thank you for your continued support there. And for all you guys hanging out in the asylum, we've had a good night tonight. Thank you for everything. I will see you guys back here. Like I said, next Tuesday, I will have Kevin Jimerson from Texas A&M, Corps Cadets Marksmanship Team, and we'll see what they're up to. And it's going to be awesome. Going to be awesome.
Coach, don't forget, you're supposed to hook me up with, what's that company with the piston?
Staccato.
No, the one you had with the 24-inch barrel, the AR with the piston.
No idea. Oh, Adams Arms.
There you go.
Adams Arms. Good company. All right, guys, y'all take care.
Incoming right there.